Okay, so I am Caleb Webster Alt. This is for FTE-217 Week 8 video assignment. The date is 1/21/2025. For this video, we are going to be discussing 4 topics, and we have a video limit that should not exceed 5 minutes. I'm just going to say off the bat, we'll probably exceed that. So, to begin, for topic number 1, it says, reflecting on your interactions with your instructor and fellow classmates throughout this course, please share insights that you have gained during these interactions. So to be completely honest, recently I've had some stuff going on with family members and friends, a lot of people passing away, so school, I feel, is been like flying by. I have had a lot of interactions with students, and they've all been great. I just can't, like, off the top of my head tell you, like, give you an example of interactions that I've had, at least positive ones. And there's been no negative. I'm just saying positive as a whole. But as far as my instructor goes, my instructor for this course, her name is Cheryl Stone. She's a very great woman. She's awesome. Every time I've ever had a problem, I reach out to her, and she helps me right away. Like, I don't ever have to worry about stuff. To go more into that, when I was building my AR, keep in mind, I followed the lecture material. I did everything step by step. I did the research beforehand. I used the proper tools, used the proper techniques. Anyway, I was installing the castle nut with the armorer's wrench, and a problem I had was that I was going to use the 3 teeth because that's just more realistic, but the 3 teeth did not line up with the gaps on my castle nut. So then I was stuck using this one with the 1 tooth, and I had the little tiny piece of metal of the tooth that sheared off. It sheared off. So let me explain. I put this on the castle nut because this was the only piece that would actually line up with one of the indentations, the slots that, take up space when the teeth are there or whatever. This wouldn't work, wouldn't line up, so I had to resort to this. Problem with this is that it's just one point of contact, and it's just not as reliable. Well, I knew that going in, it was my only way. So I did it. Keep in mind, I did have a crow's foot on the, or not a crow's foot, sorry. That was from my barrel nut. I did have a 1/2 inch torque wrench attached to this, and I had it set to 30 pounds, like you're supposed to. I put on the castle nut, torqued it to 30 pounds, and right when it got torqued to 30 pounds, it sheared and slipped, and it damaged my castle nut. Of course, because it happened so fast, I didn't understand what happened until I looked at the tool and realized, like, the tooth just sheared off, and it caused damage to my gun. Another thing, for a detailed disassembly for a video, I went to teach myself beforehand because I am, I just, I get way ahead of myself. I was going to remove the ejector from the bolt, and they send Grace USA pins, like punch pins, roll pin, punch sets, pin punch sets, stuff like that. My cat is scratching at the window to get in. For mine, I went and I used the supposed tool, which is the 1/16 inch tool, to punch out the roll pin for the ejector. I got the ejector out just fine, or the roll pin out, but the tip of this jammed inside the bolt and it wouldn't come out freely like it was designed to, which leads me to believe that it wasn't actually exactly 1/16 of an inch, and it jammed/lodged itself inside of the hole on the bolt, which then it snapped, and then the tip was, off of it as well. So these tools break. These punches bent because the pin was quite literally seized inside of the hole. So she took care of that for me. She got me a new bolt. She's awesome. No worries there. So moving on to topic 2. It says, comparing the guidance that you have received in this course to the guidance offered by other recognized experts in the field, do you find any discrepancies? My knowledge from other experts in the field, I wouldn't necessarily consider them experts. A lot of people's influencers nowadays, or at least information that they pull from, is from YouTube. And there are a lot of good YouTube channels out there. There's a lot of informed people out there, but I wouldn't consider them experts. But one thing I did notice throughout all the course material, the 6 lectures that were supplied, and the 2 textbooks, nothing in any of them mentioned torque specs on a low-profile gas block. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but I don't believe so, and I couldn't find anything. It wasn't a big deal. I just did a quick Google search, for the torque spec on a low-profile gas block screws. It's 30 pounds. Common sense here. But I do think that is important, because the criteria, the material that was provided to the students goes over A2 style front block gas block sights. So that doesn't really fully cover everything. I mean, we live in a more modern world now, so you'd want to cover low profile gas blocks as well. So that's just one discrepancy that I found in the lectures and in the textbook material, that it does not mention that at all. Topic 3 says, when gunsmithing, is there only one way to skin a cat, or are there often multiple ways of accomplishing tasks? If there are multiple ways of accomplishing gunsmithing work, are there any fundamental principles that should be and maintained at all times, and why? So, yes, there are multiple ways to get a job done in the world of gunsmithing, but you should definitely keep in mind a couple things. One, finesse. You don't want to just do anything all willy-nilly and break shit. So, I would have to say, keep in mind of your cycle of operations. That's going to help you as a checklist, just to go through things and mark things out, as you're diagnosing a firearm. Also, finesse, like I said, just make sure that you are maintaining a certain level of, be professional when you're working on the firearm. Take your time, make critical decisions, and don't mess up, and you should do good. Number 4, what future education and training will you pursue to continue building your understanding of important gunsmithing principles? So, besides SDI as a training source, I have found an awesome YouTuber. I really like black powder firearms. I think they're awesome. I like black powder rifles. I like black powder revolvers. I like it all. I think it's cool. I like feeling like a cowboy. I grew up watching The Rifleman, the old black and white cowboy show. So I love that stuff. But anyway, there's a guy on YouTube. His name is Tuco the Rat. He's like the real modern day cowboy gunslinger. You should look him up. He's awesome. But he's also like an at-home gunsmith, and he does modify revolvers, at least single-action revolvers, and he can make them triple shoot and do all kinds of really cool stuff. He offers his own website, and pretty much what it entails is, I think it's like 40 or something videos, 40 to 50 videos going over gunsmithing, essentially, but with single-action revolvers. So he has you pay a $100 fee, and you get a whole year access to his videos, which means you have an entire year to watch all 40-something videos, to retain all the information, and even if you want, download them, I'm pretty sure, so that you have them for forever, since you did pay for it. And I think that's going to be a good investment for me to continue my training/learning in the world of gunsmithing. Since I do like black powder firearms, I do suspect that someone's going to buy a black powder revolver, and they're going to come to me because it's not functioning properly, aka it's not timed, and they're having problems with the cylinder overturning or underturning, or the trigger's just crunchy feeling because when black powder revolvers are made in factories, they don't finish them. The edges are very sharp. They're very crude. There's sometimes still like slag, like metal that wasn't completely finished being polished off when they made the finishing cut. It's just there. So you kind of got to go through, you got to polish the guns, you got to sand them and make them clean and not crunchy. That's something I want to do. So he offers that. He teaches you how to go through, polish a revolver, clean it up, re-blue the areas that you touched up. He goes over trigger work, how to modify the trigger, which is very dangerous stuff. I don't recommend it unless you're going to take a class like this. Hammer modification, cylinder modification, trigger modification, all the 9 yards. He goes over how to modify and build and everything to revolvers. So I think that's my next step after SDI. I am going to invest in this man and pay attention to his teachings, and I myself will hopefully be able to become a cowboy gunslinger like him. Or at least an at-home gunsmith that can work on a single action revolver if need be comes and arises. So let's just quickly go over everything again. Number one, I reflected on my interactions with my instructor as well as my fellow classmates. So my interactions with them were very positive. My instructor was great. My classmates were awesome. All good experiences. So number two, comparing the guidance that you've received in the course to the guidance offered by other recognized experts in the field. So the only discrepancy I noticed is that one little bit of information that I could not find in any of the lecture material or actual material from textbooks. They did not mention low profile gas block torque specifications for the screws, which I think is crucial. We live in a modern day. Low profile gas blocks are popular. I think that should be in the textbooks, and I'm sure they'll probably update that for next year, as other students probably noticed it as well. I don't know. Number three, when gunsmithing, is there only one way to skin a cat? In other words, are there multiple ways of accomplishing a task? Yes, there are multiple ways of accomplishing a task. Like I said, just keep at the forefront of your mind professionalism, expertise, finesse, the cycle of operations. Use everything in this course to the best of your ability because it is tools on your tool belt. They are useful, so stick to them and you should succeed. But yeah. And finally, number four, what future education and training will you pursue? So Tuco the Rat, look him up. It's hold on, I have a link to his website. I will say it right here. Bear with me. It is, you're going to type in Tuco the Rat's secrets, members only exclusive videos. It is kind of a hard website to find, I noticed, but once I found it, I immediately saved it. But it's spelled Tucotheratts, Tuco the Rats. So he's a really cool dude. Look him up on YouTube. You're gonna be very surprised with his ability in single action revolvers. It's like watching a Western movie in real life. It's really cool stuff, and I'm actually very excited to learn from this man. So give him a look up. Take that for consideration. I think this would be a good course to spend $100 on. It's a good investment. He's going to teach you about stuff, and yeah. One more thing about the course and why I decided to learn from this guy is that he does have classes or videos, and he teaches you how to use a vertical end mill to modify the cylinder on these revolvers. So that's a big deciding factor for me, is that I don't have all this money to go to another school, like a machining school, and learn how to work a lathe and learn how to work a mill. I just don't have the money right now, and I definitely don't have the time. I'm working on other things. I want to be a homeowner, and so this is a good, cheap way for me to invest $100, listen to this man, learn from him, and maybe invest in a vertical end mill, and maybe practice on a couple revolver cylinders and try this out myself and see if I can, get it down pat. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's video. We're already at almost 15 minutes, so yeah, that's all. Thank you very much.